But let's focus on the other team in this matchup, the losing team, the New Orleans Pelicans, and specifically Zion. Again, Jrue Holiday really held him in check the first 3 quarters. He came alive in the 4th quarter, but he's played a lot this season, unlike the past couple of years. What are you seeing from him progress-wise, Jalen?
I've been saying the last couple of seasons, Sage, if you're a casual NBA fan and you're looking for a stock to invest in, sort of like Coinbase or cryptocurrency, the New Orleans Pelicans are your squad. And here's why. They basically started 1-11, 1-12 last year without Zion. Brandon Ingram improved as a basketball player, all-around playmaker, and a leader. Valanciunas, who had 30-plus points, gives them an anchor at center. They acquired C.J. McCollum during the season last year. He had 30-plus last night. Willie Green, their head coach, is a terrific young mind. And they did all of that, made the playoffs without that guy right there, Zion Williamson, who's back in the lineup. And yes, his numbers were pretty pedestrian last year. But when you start looking at the best starting fives in the NBA, the Pelicans are a part of that conversation. Wow. And, of course, when you look at the standings, there's Memphis, there's Denver, there's Phoenix. But the Pelicans are going to be in that conversation and legitimately, Sage, have a chance to not only make the playoffs clearly, but they have a puncher's chance, in my opinion, with their depth to make it to the conference finals because Zion has a chance to ascend as an all-NBA player and has a chance to be a guy that helps lead them in the playoffs. Just
last week, they were atop the Western Conference. They've now lost 4 straight, but that Western Conference is so tight, and there's a ton of basketball left to be played. By the way, this is all pending if Zion Williamson can stay healthy, and as we know, that has been a big if.
Too many things can happen. I mean, we got to learn something from last year when the Boston Celtics a year ago today were like 14-14.
Yes.
And so the season changed dramatically. And it can change dramatically by the All-Star break. When you by that trade deadline, which Woj talked about February 9, no, it's not a 2-horse race yet. I mean, you've got Jokic, who, look, there might be some voter fatigue. I don't believe in that. I'm happy to vote for Jokic if I think he's the best player when the time comes. And there's a couple of other guys that I think could slip in there. Steph is going to be tough now unless he just comes back and lights it up the rest of his time and he only misses, say, 3 weeks. But can I mention the name Ja Morant?
Go ahead.
Because don't tell me that Ja Morant's out of it after what I saw last season. And the way Memphis is going now, even with some injuries and Jaren Jackson just getting back in and looking like a defensive, monster in there, right? So I think Ja Morant could be a factor.
That's one young star. And Stephen A., on First Take today, you mentioned another.
Well, I mentioned Zion Williamson.
Yep.
I'm just looking at his numbers, guys, over the last several games. 33, 30, 25, 29, 35, 35, 26, 31. This is the last 2 games they lost to Utah, lost by 21, then lost by 3. Now they're in second place instead of first, but they were in first place when he was doing all of these things before their last 2 games. So, of course, Ja Morant is in there, their first place in the West. Obviously, Zion Williamson belongs in there as well. Those are 2 names. I can't forget Luka, who's averaging 33 for crying out loud. It's a one-man wrecking crew. And, of course, if we want to go the experienced route, I would like to remind y'all the Brooklyn Nets are relevant. They're top 4 seed in the East, and Kevin Durant has been sensational.
So we have laid out all the names. So Jalen Rose-Stradamus, with your cool glasses, look into the future. If I told you right now it isn't going to be Tatum and it isn't going to be Giannis, right now they're the front runners, who would you tell me it's going to be?
I'm glad you gave Jokic his credit because the other night he had 43, 14, 8, and 5
17
steals.
of 20.
But I don't think voters are going to give him his 3rd straight, to go with Russell, to go with Wilt, to go with Larry Bird.
So who are they going for?
I say Ja Morant. Their big 3 with Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. have played 0 minutes together this year. 0. Stephen A., you love box office. He has that.
Yes, he does.
You guys love to reward winning. They're going to flirt with the number 1 seed. And when we look at their squad, he's the straw that stirs the drink.
He makes it go.
Let me ask one other question, and we are all voters. Stephen A., only 2 players have ever missed more than 10 games in a season and won the award. That feels like a factor with Zion, who has missed 5 so far this year. Bill Walton and Allen Iverson. are the only ones to do it, and John Morant as well. How many games, give me a number, how many games does a player have to play in the regular season, Stephen A., where you say, okay, I can give that man my MVP vote? I'm going to
say 65 to 68 games. If you could, I'm leaning more towards 68. In the days of load management, understanding that teams, the players have been, they've come to me and they've said, stop blaming us. They told me this even last year. And I said, you know what? They're right about that. They say sometimes we want to play and management steps in and says we can't, along in concert with the strength and conditioning department and what have you, because they've made an investment in these guys and they're holding them now. Look at Damian Lillard. Look at what he's done since he's been back. You want to bring him along because you know you've got bigger visions. So I take that into consideration, and that's why I'm willing to go as low as a 68 to a 65. But they got to play at least 65. My preference would be 68 games in order to win a league MVP.
Yeah, Stephen A., you make a persuasive case. I might lower it. I was going to say 70. I hear you on 68. Last year, and I do vote, and I know you vote.
Yes.
You're right.
We all vote. We all vote. We all got to vote.
So last year, I did not vote for Ja first team, All-NBA. Because he missed 25 games. He missed at least 25. Mm-hmm. And that's, at some point, I'm old. I'm going to reward durability. I'm influenced by, forget just, John Stockton and Michael Jordan and Karl Malone. I'm going back to Elvin Hayes, we looked up earlier, who missed like 8 games in his entire career. Durability means something to me. That old adage about, the best ability being availability. Yes. So I'm gonna lower it a little bit. I understand what Stephen A. is saying. I've had players say the same thing. Hey, don't penalize me for management telling me I had to sit out.
I need at least 70 games. Stephen A.'s got kinder and gentler.
68. I got kinder.
Yeah, you got to give me 70 games.
It's hard to pick. I mean, all other things being equal, it's hard to picture being more valuable than Zion Williamson is to his team when he plays.
I will say
very
this.
Hard to say. Real quick.
I need to know that you care. The regular season games matter to the fans that pay the money to come see you.
Right.
It ain't easy for you.
It's about
endurance.
endurance.
To sit out. It should be easy for you not to get an award.
It's going to be.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports. It's about that time. NBA. Let's talk about the Pelicans. Now, Pelicans lost to the Bucks, and they've not done so well in the last few games. But help is on the way. Brandon Ingram probably will return in the new year to help them out. He's been out with a toe injury for the last 11 games, and Pelicans need that help, right? Because they were doing fantastic, and then all of a sudden they hit a wall when they faced Phoenix, and I'm not sure what happened. But don't give up on the Pelicans just yet, because they are the team that you have to look out for in the future, because they have a lot of unbelievable parts, as in Zion, Ingram, CJ McCollum. Now, will you count Zion for MVP? He's one of the candidates for sure, but I don't think he is 100% because of the way Jason Tatum's playing. I think that that trophy goes to Jason Tatum, but you got to think that Zion and the Pelicans and Ingram and McCollum are the team of the future, right? They're one of the teams of the future because you have to take a look at their entire roster. They play the right type of basketball, and Jalen Rose said it best, as you just saw. If you were to invest in a team right now, you're going to invest in the Pelicans, because they are fun to watch. They have promising young talent for sure, and they're only going to come up, right? All they need is a couple of vets here and there, but yeah, they are on the come up. Zion is a superstar, and he is just taking his place. Sooner or later, you're going to give him the MVP, because this guy's like a freight train, right? So it's just a matter of time before the Pelicans end up in the finals. That's my opinion. Leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. Can Zion and the Pelicans make it to the finals? If not this year, but in years to come. This is Jag from Jaggy Sports.